Not. And it's a great deck. I have been getting a lot of 4/1s with it. I love it. I love the package of Stifle, Days Wasteland, combined with a quick clock. Nulldrifter was such a fun add to get out of MH3. This deck just works really well. It's really streamlined. Works really well. That being said, I haven't done a video on White Blue Dreadnought, but I had this idea, which I'm not the first to have, of adding um, Parallax Tide and adding Consign to Memories to the main. So Consign to Memory is a nice idea because yes, it enables it like stifles the ETB trigger of Phyrexian Dreadnought. It stifles the ability of Nulldrifter as well, the evoke sacrifice, but also it works with Parallax Tide. So um, yeah, it can counter the leaving the battlefield or the dying trigger of Parallax Tide. Parallax Tide is a 4 mana enchantment. Sees a lot of play in pre-modern. Love this card. Comes into play with 5 fading counters. You can use the activated ability is to remove a fading counter to exile land. And normally that exile is temporary because when Parallax Tide dies, aka when the when you try to remove a fading counter and you can't. So it'll live a whole turn cycle on 0 fading counters, but the following upkeep when you try to remove another fading counter as required by the ability of fading and you can't, you have to sacrifice it, and at that point it leaves the battlefield. If it leaves the battlefield any other way as well, there's a trigger to return all those lands to their owner's control, and that can be stifled and that can be consigned. So um, it just seems like another good card to have in the shell. And it would be kind of a reason to go more towards mono blue. But the biggest thing is I'm really liking the idea of playing Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb speeds up the chances of casting Nulldrifter, which I'm finding is really difficult to do with the standard white blue 19 mana base, 19 lands mana base. Um, so Ancient Tomb is a nice add there. It helps us play around days in a lot of situations. Um, so I'm really curious to see how Ancient Tomb plays. So I've got 4 of those in the deck. 9 sort of cantrips, including Lorien Revealed, which is occasionally something that I might be casting off of Ancient Tomb a little more easily than with a couple plains and islands and then wastelands, which aren't sticking around very long. Um, yeah, so 9 cantrips, 12 enablers, um, 11 payoffs, including the Parallax Tide, 4 Dreadnought, 4 Nulldrifter. I like to play 1 Murktide in the white-blue one, but it doesn't work as well with Ancient Tomb, obviously, and trying to just have the biggest spells coming in. Also, we have 5 ways to interact with opponents' permanents. Pondrifies, I have no idea if this is the right play. I just know that I'm not too worried about an opponent having a 3/3. So a largely unconditional removal spell for 1 mana in blue. Sounds great. Brazen Borrower, a couple of those, probably the most staple and unexperimental removal spell here. By removal spell, I just mean interaction. Ugin's Binding. This is something that my brother suggested. It works well with the Ancient Tomb, so getting up to 3 mana won't be quite as hard in this deck. Its front half works just like a Brazen Borrower, bounces a non-land permanent I don't control. Works just like a Petty Theft. But if it's in my graveyard and I cast something that has 7 CMC, or 7 mana value, such as Nulldrifter, even evoking Nulldrifter will work. I get this bottom ability from Ugin's Binding where I exile it from my graveyard, and it's like a one-sided upheaval. I'm going to bounce all of my opponent's permanents. So it seems like something worth testing. At worst, it's just a bounce spell that costs 3. In the middle, it could be a bounce spell that I play off of an island and a tomb, just 2 lands. That's great. And at best, I'm gonna get a one-sided upheaval. So yeah, it definitely plays with that. It is devoid, so it does not pitch to force. We have plenty of blue though. I'm not too worried about that. Sideboard, nothing crazy. Gauge, Sphere, Null Rod, couple Harbingers. Yeah, Hole Breacher. Just got one of those. Normally I've been playing Narset, but with the Ancient Tombs, I like the idea of having a Hole Breacher. Instant speed is also great in this deck. Here is a fun of. Um, I don't have a ton of interaction, so Psychic Frog, Murktide, Tameo, I would love to bounce those to my opponent's hand, and then they never get to cast them again. Also, off of Ancient Tomb, this is a little more feasible than usual. A little bit of a fun of here, but I like it, so I'm curious to try it out. Also, sort of the main impetus for this deck is Consign to Memory is such a great card. It's a great sideboard card in the meta right now because there's a ton of Eldrazi Stompy and Cloud Post with Eldrazi. And Consign to Memory is great there. Also, Painter being on the rise. Yes, a lot of times a Painter will be in play and spells aren't going to be colorless. And so the Consign to Memory won't be able to counter colorless spells. But before a Painter enters, Consign to Memory is great. Also, Painter has a number of triggered abilities to hit as well. So, Consign to Memory, it's definitely hedging really hard towards a certain portion of the meta, but I'm curious to try it out. And also, even if I'm not facing that portion of the meta that Consign to Memory is great against, I have 11 things in my own deck that it works well with. We had to cut down on the Days Wasteland package. Still 4 Stifles, but only 1 Days and 3 Wasteland. I was curious to try that out and see. I love the Days Wasteland Stifle package, but curious to try that out. I was thinking of getting a Spell Pierce in the main, but for now, I will sit tight with this. Okay, we won the die roll against Madden Fong. I've never played them before. Yeah, never have played them. This hand looks solid, perfectly fine. I have a way to turn 3 Dreadnought followed by Parallax Tide. Hopefully they're not doing some sort of fast combo over there. Start with a Ponder. We don't know what they're playing, so sometimes holding onto a Ponder is a good idea, but I kind of want to just find some more lands, or interaction. So I kind of like this. 2 lands off of this. Giant. Is this the red-green initiative deck? Yeah, okay. If Dreadnought is able to stick, it's pretty good against initiative. I will be going a little slow, but yeah, I think it's worth taking next turn off just to cast Dress Down in opponent's end step, and then hopefully hopefully Dreadnought gets there. I don't want the Wasteland that's under this, so I'm going to play the Fetch land. So they Scried, means a slightly slower clock against me, but yeah, 1 top, 1 bottom with that Scry, so I won't be getting hit by the trap, which is a good thing. Fable, okay. Gives them some good selection. Another Dreadnought here would be sweet. They got another Undermountain Adventurer. Okay, Consign to Memory. There's plays here. I could stifle them getting initiative back, potentially. Or taking the initiative off of the upcoming Undermountain Adventurer. Or I could just dress down everything. Should I dig? Nah. I'm just gonna get this Dreadnought into play, and then I'm gonna dress down their incoming Undermountain Adventurer. Unfortunately, the Undermountain Adventurer does do a good job of giving the mana. So does the Chromox, so does the Goblin Shaman. So Parallax Tide isn't looking great. It'll cut them off a couple lands, but they have so much mana that they don't need their lands. They don't need their lands to make their mana, basically. I could counter that, but I don't think that's the play. The play honestly might be when they take the initiative back next turn, on their next turn, I don't let them get it back. So they wanted that treasure. Big spell coming out here. Yeah. I'm gonna dress this down. Catacombs would have given them a skeleton. Pawn 5. Like that. Okay, they're casting another big creature here, but I mean that's nice, but again, they won't be venturing further. Okay, a couple pieces of interaction here. I think I just want to hold up Consign, Pontify, and Brazen Borrower. Could brainstorm in advance. I could have actually brainstormed and then used this search trigger from getting the basic land. But I kind of like my hand, other than Parallax Tide, so it's the last island. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold up as much interaction as I can here. At 8, so I can deal with, yeah, send back 2 of those creatures. This has an attack trigger. Yeah, so I don't want to let them get an attack even. Well, I blew right through the attack, so all good. Let's see what they get here. Broadside Bombardiers, good, but not good enough. I don't mind taking the hit from that. Kill their blockers. And in the end step, I'm gonna Brazen Borrower a blocker. Okay. Just take that. That I want to counter. So I'm keeping the initiative. I could make this a 14-14 if the math's gonna work out. Yeah, that thing's an issue, but I'm going to Petty Theft. Let's see. If I bounce Underbound Adventurer, they're gonna have 7 toughness. 7 toughness will keep them alive because Forge is going to interesting. Yeah. Because Forge is going to make Dreadnought a 14-14. So they'll be at exactly 1 after just gang blocking. So maybe I bounce the token so they can't recast. So that's showing the downside of Pondify. And because I'm not killing them outright here, I might want to... Actually, I'm going to keep this room because I want to get them a trap. Unnecessary, because to deal damage to them would be lethal after on an ensuing attack. So I should go Scry. That's nice. Stops them again. Take that. Okay, they're chump blocking 6 of it. So maybe I could cut them off of a lot of lands, but I still would die to this attack. So I still need some interaction here. But I guess I could stifle the Broadside Bombardier's sacrifice, and then their attack would bring me to 1. So yeah, I have these tools at my advantage, but I believe I'm just gonna go to 1. Yeah, because they're gonna throw something at me with Broadside, and I'm gonna stifle it. I could actually dress down in advance. Yeah, I'm gonna dress down. That was my mistake last time. Okay, cuts off haste, which is huge. I believe this is a win. So they can attack for just 7. Yep. Alright, sideboard. I played that game very trepidatiously. Probably could have just been a little more smooth with it, but I'm rusty with this deck. A couple blue blasts to hit their red stuff. Other than that, I'm not too worried. Maybe I should be getting worried about a chalice. It's definitely possible. I'd rather play around a chalice. Yeah, the Parallax Tide's not great in this matchup. Day's not great. Yeah. I think, yeah, I'm playing with a 61 card deck, so here we go. Interaction, and hopefully the Ponder gets me somewhere. Force of Will for Chalice, too. We have 12 enablers in the deck, so I'm hoping Ponder can find me one of them. Gonna counter that. Storm's great. Good cards, but not what I need. Okay, another land. Okay, yeah, countering the because they were for colored mana. Another Dreadnought. Start with Brainstorm. Harbinger's interesting. Yeah, it's not terrible. I don't love it right now. I'm gonna even put away a Dreadnought. I need these Ponders to find me the goods. The enablers. Still no enabler. Got another Harbinger. Wow, okay. Yeah, just had to hope that they were going to stay mono-screwed. I didn't really have anything going on. There's an enabler. So next turn I was going to have a Dreadnought in play. Okay. Or even a Harbinger. Alright, good games. Okay, facing Yapperdoodle. They are on the play. I've never faced them before. Okay, decent hand. Has a pathway to a Parallax Tide situation. Ponder on turn one. Good enough. Not very aggressive, but maybe the Parallax Tide can do some damage. And if I get the feeling that I need to hold up Consign, I could instead of playing Ponder, but I don't really get that feeling from Windswept Heath. Another island is great. Yeah, I don't want this other ancient tomb, but a payoff and a wasteland. Now, a surveil trigger is definitely worth consigning. Just kidding, don't do that. Another surveil land. This kind of looks like Nadu. Yeah, Nadu breakfast. Maybe it's like a Maverick Nadu type of thing. Or just Green Sun Zenith Nadu. I could see Parallax Tide actually being decent. So I have the option of Wastelanding next turn, but I'm kind of more interested in just getting a Dreadnought out there. And then on the following turn, Parallax Tiding. They could have the Force and then combo next turn. Okay, Ice Fang Coatl. Maybe that is definitely going to be an issue. A good way to deal with Dreadnought, but it's in the yard at the moment. Stuck in my upkeep waiting for opponent to pass priority. What I could do is I could Wasteland the White Source, and then Lauren revealed to shuffle away. It was another island. Maybe it was another Wasteland below the Dreadnought I'm about to draw. I don't hate that. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of hit their White Source. I'm gonna hold up Consign. I don't think it's gonna matter, but in the end step, in their end step, I'm gonna cycle Lauren revealed so that I don't draw that Wasteland. Alright, they had another White Source in hand. Or off the Ponder. Okay, they shuffled off the Ponder too. Okay, a little force backup is great. Okay. Ready, let's see what happens. I could see a Swords getting me. Swords, love that. But honestly, Ice Fang Coatl might get me, which is a 2-for-1 in their favor. Okay, there's the Swords. Do I want to fight about this? I'm excited to resolve a Parallax Tide. I'm gonna fight this anyway. So I can stick a Parallax Tide, and it can just sit there for a couple turns, and then in those turns I'll hopefully draw into a Stifle or Consign, so that I can deal with the trigger. And during that time, they're kind of pinned down. Okay, so they didn't swords me in the end step because in my end step because they were playing around these. Yeah, let's just buy some time. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna take out all their lands. I don't want them to function. It means that Parallax Tide will be in play for fewer turns, but I really just need some time right now. Okay, Dryad Arbor. A Summoning Sick Monosaurus, I'm okay with that. They're definitely like a Green Sun Zenith Nadu deck. Holding up Force of Will is cool. Holding up Parallax Tide for after this current Parallax Tide dies is decent. Lands off the top. Probably rereading Parallax Tide for the umpteenth time. Another land isn't great. It can get Mystic Sanctuary in the end step and put Ponder on top. Or could actually go get... No. I was gonna say I could go get Consign to Memory. Actually, that might be the play. But Consign to Memory, I wouldn't draw it until Parallax Tide is already dead. And I would want to do this with Force Backup. So I'm considering playing another Parallax Tide, exiling their 2 lands. This Parallax Tide will die, giving them 3 lands. I want to take those as well and then Consign. I think wait for another blue card. Actually, I wouldn't have needed another blue card because I have enough mana to both cast Consign and hard cast Force of Will. First time playing this deck. Okay. So, I'll go get Mystic Sanctuary, get Consign. Getting Lorien Revealed is also maybe the play. Drawing 5 would have been nice. But that one I can't do with Force Backup. So this Tide's gonna die. They're gonna get a ton of lands back. Then I draw Consign. Surveil. Okay. So I'm gonna cast it this way so that I can hold up Consign to Memory. So if Parallax Tide resolves and then they kill it somehow, I want to be able to Consign. So I'm using him here. The question is, if they force this, do I want to force back? Hard to say. I guess I'll see what they pitch first before deciding. They pitched Ponder. They could have Nadu here. Oy. Not great, but I don't have much going on. I'm targeting their green sources so that Nadu doesn't get me. They have 1 in hand. If it's a Nadu, they won't be able to cast it. If it's a green source, then they don't have Nadu. Okay. Okay, Ugin's Binding. Yeah, I mean, I'll bounce something at some point. I suppose I'll just bounce Nomads in the end step. Or in response to a Nadu here. Yeah, it could just be a Nadu right here. Nope. Okay. Last chance to draw a Stifle or something for Parallax Tide. You keep pausing in my upkeep for a long time. Okay, alright, we got the Consign. They have all their lands back now, though. So, Parallax Tide and Consign became a 3 for 2. And my previous Tide was a 1 for... This was a 0 for 1. So it's going to be, in essence, 3 for 3. And they're flooding over there, so my tiding hasn't made a big impact on the game. Okay, so I let that... There we go. The die triggers on the stack. I cast with Replicate in case they have Force. Just Replicate once. So there's 2 copies, so they can't force. If they force one, the other one still resolves. Okay, draw step. Stifle? Don't hate it. Good enabler for future Dreadnoughts and Nulldrifter. Uh-oh. Nadu? Okay, this is Nadu. Yikes. Probably have lost the game. I'm not going to stifle one of these triggers. One of the Nadu triggers. Because they're going to get 4, so stifling 1 isn't great. Swords are down. So their deck has 2 swords left. I'm just thinking about the chances that if I top deck a Dreadnought or Nulldrifter, what are the chances it sticks around? Swords yet. But yeah, they're drawing 6 a turn, including my turn. An Nulldrifter would be amazing because then Ugin's Binding would trigger. We're due for a Nulldrifter. There's a Nulldrifter, what I needed. Still recast everything on their next turn. But yeah, kind of nice that we're able to trigger this Ugin's Binding in the second match. Yeah, and they're going to draw their 6 here. Annihilator 1 is kind of nullified by all their permanents. I was trying to think of other relevant 7 drops that I could put in the deck to help with Ugin's binding, and my brother and I don't really have any other good ideas. Maybe he has some other ideas, but in a mono blue shell, none that I'm too excited by. So they got Sylvan Safekeeper. That's something I have to be aware of. Now I bounce their 3 creatures. Nulldrifter finally resolves. Yes, I'm gonna stifle that sack trigger, even though I maybe want to save the stifle for a Dreadnought or a Parallax Tide. Yeah. Okay, I'm not too sad about that. 12 in hand. Dress down would have been amazing. I will keep it anyway. Yikes. Yeah, dress down would have been amazing. Buying another turn. F6. Safekeeper, Encore, Nadu. They are perfectly protected here. Thing is, they're at 19 cards in their library, and if they keep comboing off getting 6 a turn, if they're not aware of their library, could be an issue. So yeah, maybe they're sort of chilling here and they don't want to keep triggering Nadu. I would like to trigger it for them, but I don't have that much targeted interaction. Yeah, they didn't trigger it that many times. I think they even have a Ponder in hand in a Green Sun Zenith, which they didn't cast. Okay. So, do I want to shuffle away that dress down on top? I think I do. So that this dress down and brainstorm together can dig 1 deeper without spending 2 mana. I'm gonna dress down first. No need to use the tomb yet. Also, my life total is definitely a resource right now. If I'm trying to last for a little bit before, because I want them to mill themselves. I'm trying to stay alive. I think if that Ice Fang Coatl that we saw early on is just a one-of in the deck. Yeah, burning some card. So I kind of need some blockers. They got another force. That's a bummer. Bristly Bill is a risk for them. Spring Heartman, Tuco. Alright. Looks like they just got 3 or 4 cards there. Okay, they're forcing anyway. Huh. Now I kind of wish I had that dress down. Okay, targeted removal. Not bad. They have more Nadus though. Huh. I don't want to give them a 3/3. I suppose I'll do this in their upkeep. What are they targeting? Let's see. Oh, they're not. So they could just give it Shroud. But that's a couple more triggers. And that Pondify on top is going to be 1 more trigger. I'm targeting Nadu because it forces them to make the decision if they want to do any activations now. Actually, I take that back. They'll just recast it in their main phase. Not an issue. But also, I'm trying to get as many triggers out of them as possible because I want to mill them. So yeah, they need to add to their board so that they can step up their clock. So interesting, this is a mandatory landfall trigger on Bristly Bill. If a land enters, they have to put a +1/+1 on a target creature. That would set off Nadu. Yeah, so they're getting a trigger here. If they want to draw off of Teferi, that'll be another card out of their library. We're getting close. Their clock is speeding up. They're only going to hit for a few this turn. I have targeted removal on the top of my deck. I won't be able to cast it during their turn. But we might get there. Keen-Eyed Curator is a good Bloom Burrow card, kind of like Scavenging Ooze. I'm not even sure it's better. Trample's nice, but yeah. Wow. Are they going to mill themselves? Unless they play Endurance? I don't think I've seen an Endurance. Could be in their hand from draws, or it could be the top card of their library. In which case, Consign to Memory would have been a good... Actually, Consign to Memory I can't respond to the trigger because they have Teferi in play. Okay, they have nothing in their library. Do they play Endurance? I'm gonna have sixth. Six. Oh, they do have Endurance. Okay, good game. Damping Sphere kind of slows them down. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't do enough. Doesn't do anything. Lawan says they can't cast Nadu. Kind of funny. They play a lot of non-basics. Valkyries, nah. I did see a Shuko. Did I see a Shuko? I don't think. Maybe I didn't see a Shuko. Don't remember. But just bring in four. Damping Sphere is really not amazing. It might even be worse for me because I Dreadnought and Stifle on the same turn. So I actually will take that out. They don't multi-spell a ton. An early Parallax Tide could be good, but it's not amazing. Take out a couple of those. Take out a Consign. Gotta go fast. This is where the complete mono denial package of Wasteland, Daze, Stifle in the white-blue Dreadnought deck would really come in handy. Keeps the game really small. Keeps the board really small. On the play, yeah, Island Ponder, a couple forces, a couple enablers, a little bit of interaction. Great hand. Just need this Ponder to find another island or Ancient Tomb. Brainstorm or Ponder or Lorien Reveal. A lot of hits and four looks. Yeah, yeah. So I'll have double force backing up, dress down into. Actually, I could do double force backing up Dreadnought Stifle next turn. I'd rather do that than wait a turn and try to resolve dress down. Just need to go fast, like I said. So they didn't shuffle that Ponder. Stifle the ETB, backing a force here. Consign to memory, which is a good way to just counter the front half of Dreadnought. I pitched the dress down. Okay. Stifle's in there. Great. Basic island, something important to notice. They also had basic forest and presumably basic plains. So Harbinger might not be good at all. Swords playing around days here. Prismatic ending. Okay. Got nothing in hand. All in on the Dreadnought. Just gotta dodge removal for one turn. They had the swords. Brutal. Ooh, they even had a Beseiju, which I wouldn't have been able to consign. Yeah, this is rough. Couple of enablers. It's good. Yeah. So they're playing around days there. They don't have a way to trigger Nadu at the moment. That does do it. Yeah, they're gonna draw 6 a turn. I'm just gonna concede. Nothing I can do here. Okay, B Trout is a new opponent. I haven't faced them. This hand is good. I want to face, one of the Eldrazi decks or post decks so that Consign can shine. Brainstorm's great. Start on Ponder. Yeah, I actually don't mind some of this protection. I can see. I think Consign is gonna cover Nulldrifter's back, and I would like some protection for that. This could be like a Delver deck, is what I'm thinking. Could be white, blue, Stifle Knot. Yeah, maybe they were holding up Stifle for me right there. Yep, looking. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's just gonna sit there and counter a consign or something. There was a wasteland on top. I don't hate hitting the white source right now. They're getting in for 2. In the back of this, I think says, yeah, if they were to, if they were to disturb it, like flashback the creature, their non-creature spells can't be countered. Ooh, which makes Force and Days pretty bad. That's right, it was a tomb. Well, this is why we have Brainstorm. Play around Days here. I honestly don't want this to get... Okay, great. Okay, put away a tomb. Don't need another island. I could hold up Stifle, or I could Ponder. I kind of want to hold up Stifle for a white source. Yeah. And they'll probably use Malevolent Hermit. It's possible I want to save Stifle for the Malevolent Hermit. So I'd want to go get a Ponder. I'd want to cast Ponder right now. Yeah, I'm actually going to do that. Because I'm going to need 3 blue. I'm going to need Tomb and blue to evoke Nulldrifter, 1 to consign it, and then that gets countered, and I can Stifle again. Or I can Stifle the Malevolent Hermit, whatever. I really like this, even though it's not a blue source. It is my only threat. No, can't keep that. Dreadnought's nice. So yeah, next turn I can do Ancient Tomb, Dreadnought. Consign that, ETB. They try to counter it with Malevolent Hermit, and then I Stifle. And all of that will be around Days thanks to Ancient Tomb. And on the following turn I can do some Nulldrifter stuff. Yeah. I'll also have Force Days protection. And Narset doesn't bother me too much. Does stuff Nulldrifter, actually. Yeah, that was actually something I should have dealt with. Should have just dazed that. Look at that. Do I replicate in case they have counter magic? Yeah, I got a floating colorless. Yeah, cast with replicate. Yep, 1 replicate. But how Ancient Tomb is kind of nice with that. Kind of took a non-creature spell. Yeah, same targets. Okay, Stifle can hit Malevolent Hermit's ability, and then Force of Will and Days are gonna try to keep this Dreadnought around. What did he draw off? He found a Ponder off of Narset. I really need to kill the Narset so that Nulldrifter can do its thing. Bobble, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely wishing I had dazed the Narset. Yep, and then I Stifle that. But if they have any counter magic, I'm just stuffed here. And then I'm gonna be dead. Yeah, yikes, not dazing that Narset was cuts me off my card advantage. I have no small creatures, no Doorkeeper Thrall to just peck away at the Narset. Yikes. I mean, I guess if I get a Parallax Tide off the top, that's something to play for right now. I could, if I get an enabler for Nulldrifter, try to do that, like Dress Down, because I would draw during their turn off the Dress Down. Okay, we found an enabler. This is a Hail Mary. Draw. Cast with Replicate, sure. Same targets. I hope to find something we can wasteland. Nope. Okay, they've got red as well. This is just like Jeskai control. Ooh, I saw that bobble. Oh, like a flickering Narset. And they got swords. Okay. Good game. I blew it. Jeskai hitting combo. Hitting Narset. Bobble. Presumably there's Teferi and maybe even Mox Amber. Ay, ay, ay. Damping Sphere stops a lot of that. Can't cast blue creatures, sure. Stops the planeswalkers, stops infinite draws, stops red shenanigans. Onjify can come out. It's not really about Healing Kitten. I think a 3-drop removal spell is good enough. I think I'm gonna not bring in those. 2 more cuts. Parallax Tide is difficult to pull off. Okay, try that. Yeah, Parallax Tide is difficult to pull off against so much counter magic. Yeah, this is good. I guess I'll pretend like I have Stifle. Just play a basic island. Another dress down is good. Bobbling me. I suppose they already know the top of their deck after that ponder. Dress down. Feels like a spell pierce or something. Nope, okay. They were just playing around me having Stifle. I don't think they were. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were just playing around me having Stifle. Parallax Tide, okay. Could be in play this game. Creature's solid. Do I want to work towards these guys? Therefore not using Wasteland. They already have 2 white sources. I'm not super afraid of Teferi, so I think I'll just start with a Brainstorm. Ooh, Spell Pierce is good. Put those away. Cast Dreadnought and hold up Spell Pierce and Force. And then next turn, Parallax Tide. Gotta force that. Oops. Sticking to the plan. Parallax Tide. Okay. Flusterstorm can resolve, and then I'm gonna Spell Pierce. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure, I don't know what's going on here. This is a copy, right? So I can let that resolve. I just wanted to make sure they didn't have the ability to still resolve the copy trigger and then target Spell Pierce. Okay, so they have Force as well, pitching Supreme Verdict. Okay. Great. That's amazing. Got the Stifle for the Tide. Maybe they'll even play another land thinking it speeds up the time that Tide will be in play. Nope. Hang on to the tomb for Brainstorm. Future Brainstorms. Yeah, they're just trying to wait out the Tide. Okay, Brazen Borrower. Play out the tomb now because I might want a Brazen Borrower and Petty Theft and Brazen Borrower next turn. Successfully took out 3 of their lands there and found a Daze. They got the white source. Swords plays around Daze. Yup. Do I just do this in the dark right now? I honestly just want the redraw. And maybe it'll get me a payoff. Nope. Flooded Strand can get me a Brainstorm. Yeah. Because of Mystic Sanctuary. And I can even pick it up with Daze. Yeah, let's just grab Brainstorm. Storm. I could have done that different timing. Okay. Just hardcast Force and Hold up Stifle. Keep Daze in hand because I want to pick up Mystic Sanctuary. Might have been something I want to just hardcast Force. They're Brainstorm locked over there. No, they're not. Okay, never mind. I'm finding with this Parallax Tide combo that even when I resolve it, I go net one card. Like I spend my enchantment and my stifle, but that's not great, and it just the game just comes to a halt afterwards. So I am hoping they force back here, and then I can just daze. Yep, right. They pitched force and negation. I'm gonna pick up Mystic Sanctuary and then get a Brainstorm again. Love Lauren Revealed. Storm. I could consign a Bauble. Narset. Ugh. With Brainstorm on top. That's horrible. I can't beat Narset. Good games. I cannot beat that. Let's see what was under the Brainstorm. If it'll let me. Alright, good games. Okay, HSRMG is someone I've played before. They were on Mardu Painter, I think. No lands, can't keep. I mean, yeah, this actually has an island, so I will keep. I'm gonna send back Tide, because that is a haymaker to get blown out. Lauren Revealed is the island. Yeah, Parallax Tide just get blown out by a red blast. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, they were on they're Badlands. I don't know if they had any black spells other than Chaos Defiler. Sometimes Painter players will play one Badlands just to support Chaos Defiler. Could be Painter. I would love to Wasteland this with the trigger on the stack, but I can't. Depending on what this Ponder finds, like if I find some more lands, I could Wasteland their Saga. If I don't find more lands, I need Wasteland to stick around as a mana source. Yeah, I mean, it's a land and an enabler for Nulldrifter, so I should keep. And go ahead. Just constrict them. If they're about to drop a plateau and the Saga was actually bait, all good. A plateau hitting a Nulldrifter is all good because I've already netted card advantage. Yeah, okay, they're Painter. Vexing Bauble means I don't want to find counter magic, or at least not force type stuff. But holding up Consign here is an option. I can only afford to keep one Nulldrifter around. Do I want to hold up Consign? Not yet. I think I'd rather Ponder. Force is bad. Force to the bottom, Dreadnought to the top. Dreadnought is a little bit difficult to keep around sometimes with Welder. Probably won't be an issue, but if one ever dies, then I'll never be able to keep one alive because they can just weld it out. They weld the one that I have in play out for the one that's in my graveyard, and then I have the ETB trigger again. So I can't have a Consign or a Stifle or a Dress Down every single time they're welding. Probably a moot point for my deck because I don't play any other artifacts that are going to end up in the yard. Okay, basic planes. Interesting. Yeah, Engineer doesn't really bother me. Dragon Engine, which funnily enough I can consign if I wanted. Okay, just a Painter. This card is a force. They're tapped out, so I definitely go for the Dreadnought Consign here. Both forces back. Keep Stifle around because after Painter comes in, Stifle is the more flexible spell. Oh, okay. Okay. Yep, that's gone. So I'm gonna have to use Stifle. They're gonna activate Grindstone and then activate Engineer. And I will stifle Engineer's ability. I can even hold up Brazen Borrower on something. Yeah, I think it's worth it just to dig for another land. I actually like this a lot. Okay. Yeah, I need to. I can't be null drifting and stifling right now. I need to hold up interaction because I'm dead next turn if I didn't. They're waiting. They're gonna wait for my upkeep. Okay. What I could do is I could bounce their engineer. That would incentivize them to do this now. Maybe I will do that. They only have one red source, so they can't blast and engineer. I kind of wanted what was on top. I can't stop the grindstone. I mean, I could, but I'd rather stifle this. Yeah, they sacked something. I just want to stifle this, which means they'll have to do this again later. They'll have to try to activate Goblin Engineer, bringing back Painter Servant again later. So this buys the most time, even if I lose Nulldrifter Stifle. And next turn, if they cast Engineer, then they're going to be off of red again. Just down. That does it. They might have a swords, but they don't have a red blast. Ugin's Binding is cool. I mean, yeah, I got to assume they don't have a painter in hand. That's what I'm playing towards. And then on the following turn, I can even Parallax Tide them. Oh, there's hope here. Good sign. They're spending their mana on, yeah, on not Painter Grindstone. They did float. Okay, yeah, Snaring Bridge makes sense. So they're tapped out of red again. Good chance Parallax Tide resolves. Swing first. Yeah, I don't want to show them anything. This might just get swords right now. Oh, I got an Annihilator trigger. Sack the land. Okay. Okay, what's the play? Don't have enough to do Ugin's Binding here. Planes. It's an ongoing debate whether Basic Planes is a decent card in Painter. Most people say no. I feel like if this was a red source, they would have had a little more interaction because I don't know if there's a blast in hand or not. But I'm gonna exile it anyways. Let's go to end step. And I'm actually just gonna wasteland this Elegant Parlor. So hopefully my Tide can stick around. If they just red source and then red blast though, they'll have all the mana they need. And I will be dead. Okay. Are they just swinging? Alright. Chipping away. I need an Enabler or a Nulldrifter. Bounce spell. Just combat. Sense. Yeah, I think just bounce and stuff. Gotta bounce this. I mean, do I bounce Grindstone and exile their land? But then that would mean Parallax Tide dies next turn. I need it to stick around, so I'm gonna bounce this. Yeah. I'm just very fortunate they haven't found a red blast, which would still wreck me if they find it next turn. I just can't let Ensnaring Bridge come into play. Hey, unfortunately, okay, that land is turned off. Yeah, that's nice actually. Their tombs are gonna be turned off after this Parallax Tide dies, because they'll be up 1. Solid. They're just gonna sacrifice the tomb. Yeah, consign to memory means they won't get their lands back. That's huge. Yeah, even if they find a red blast. And I can replicate the hell out of it. Not that it will matter. They can't even activate this fetch land. Okay. I don't even need to replicate it. Because they can't crack that. Interestingly, it only would have given them a couple lands. They could have still welded for Ensnaring Bridge. I would have cast Brazen Borrowers, but it wasn't actually over. Brazen Borrowers would have eventually been able to attack because they're going to get stuck on mana. Okay, even though we got lucky and Parallax Tide actually worked that game, it is not going to work in future games, so that's out. Everything else I think is decent. Consign could trim one of those. I assume they're going to name blue, so I kind of like Lawan Cephalid Empress. If they name blue and I resolve that and protect it, could be fun. They have enough basics. They don't draw a ton. I'm glad I have 2 red blasts. Raptor's Cage is solid. Null Rod, obviously. Take out another Consign. I like that Ugin's Binding and Nulldrifter are colorless. It's a Daze and trim a Force or 2 so that I can bring in some Surgicals. Yeah, okay. Keeping 2 Forces, not great. Forces are not good against all those red blasts. Ooh. Can't keep it. 1 land, can't keep the rail land in this deck. Yeah, this hand's better, and I will bottom. Yeah, they have Vexing Baubles and Vexing Baubles actually still stops starting. Vexing Baubles and Red Blast, so forces are not great. I don't know why they kept a Needle. Wasteland? Hopefully they don't blind hit this Flooded Strand. Okay, they named Wasteland. Dress Down's nice against the Construct. So hopefully I find one of those soon. Okay. Yeah, let's brainstorm. No Dress Down. Force is live at the moment. I still don't trust it, especially since they might be about to crack that and get a Vexing Bauble. I don't need 2 Brazen Borrowers. I don't think there's going to be a scary non-creature spell coming next turn, so I'm going to Ponder as opposed to holding up Spell Pierce. Okay, got some interaction. Yeah. Sorry, some enablers for Dreadnought. Dreadnought's an issue for them, and this can bounce an Ensnaring Bridge. It's colorless. Yeah, definitely hoping they just make constructs, because I can deal with constructs. 12 is going to be bigger than 2 of them, almost guaranteed throughout this whole game. Even if they have Red Source Pyroblast here, I'll be okay. I have Consign and Stifle on top and Spell Pierce. Okay. Yeah. Cannot let a Dreadnought get in the yard. Welder will be a nightmare. Stifle it and hold up Consign. Oh, they hit a Simian Spirit Guide. Okay. All good. I'm gonna keep Spell Pierce for a future turn. I'm thinking I need to worry about Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, nice. There is hope. Chaos Defiler wrecked me. Yeah, man, oh man. Chaos Defiling would be brutal. Oh, they're gonna do Chaos Defiling. Yikes. I can hope to strand it in their hand. Oh, just Ensnaring Bridge. Do they not have Chaos Defiler? I'm gonna ask them. Bridge even shuts off their creatures. I have a bounce spell and a counter spell. Although, even after I counter it, they can just bring it back. Oof. No Defiler, they said. Okay, lots of bounce spells. That's great. They said they would cut Defiler in this matchup anyway. I don't know the rationale why, but all good. So I'm gonna bounce it because they don't have red up. Defiler, sorry, Binding being colorless, I can cast on a later turn when they are holding up red Pyroblast. Resolved. Even once it is countered, they're gonna be able to do Welder Engineer shenanigans and keep it in play. But they're losing life in the process. That Ancient Tomb is not going to be able to be used for too much longer. Especially now they have two of them. Uh, yeah, I'll Spell Pierce it. It gets countered unless they want to tap the tomb. And then their welders and engineers will be able to bring it back. Okay, they're just paying two. They don't have an artifact in the yard, so me bouncing it on this upcoming turn with a colorless spell, they won't be able to send it to the yard and then bring it back. I mean, they can sack the bauble to put an artifact in the yard, but they would need another mana to then get another trigger. So once bauble's in the yard, they could weld with my bounce spell on the stack. They could weld the bridge into the yard, bringing back bauble, and then engineer. Flip those again, bringing back the ensnaring bridge. But that requires two mana, especially now that I have that blast. So, yeah, I'm just gonna do a colorless bounce. Ooh, swords for the Dreadnought. Yikes. Ah, okay. Well, at least their tombs are off. So if I can stick a Brazen Borrow, it's just a one-turn swing. Saga's pretty good. Dress Down is a good answer to Saga. I wouldn't hate just a land. I want to cast Brazen Borrow with some blue protection, blue blast protection. Uh, I just want to start deploying my threats though. Yeah, I'll do this in the upkeep. Actually, it doesn't matter. If they have a red blast, they can do it whenever. That's a nice thing to weld out for a Vexing Bauble redraw for them. Yep, Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Yeah, and this time they can do the double welding, but I have a trick. I'm gonna blast their welder. So yeah, end step here. I'm gonna cast Brazen Borrower, and then I'm gonna, in my turn, untap, blast their welder, and then I'll be able to bounce the bridge, and they won't be able to keep it in play unless they have a red blast. Hit welder. This doesn't work if they have a red blast. Actually, it still does. It still does. Because they'll be tapped out of engineer. And they need two welding slash engineer activations. Yeah. So much bounce. Awesome. Good games. That felt satisfying. The deck is feeling a little bit smoother for a matchup that normally is pretty bad. All those red blasts. Anyways, good games. CC D Smash is a new opponent. Never played him before. They said they hope that I'm actually playing Didgeridoo. I used to. This hand is fine. Ponders. Wow, look at me with no basics. No basics. I have so many basics in this deck. God. Actually, I don't. I only have four? Woo. The play draw game. Their red prison. Mono red prison over there. Ugh. Wow. I'll force something here. Wow, I'm gonna die so fast to this. Dirty Magus against a monocolored basic land heavy deck. Oy. This stops like treasures and Chromox. It's not that. Scary for them. That isn't either. None of this is very good. I guess that means I get to stay close to my starting 61. I showed them I was blue. They'll probably bring in some red blasts. Makes me want to take that out. Days isn't amazing again against them. Let's try that. Even though I'm on the play, Days isn't amazing. No basics, no fetches either. Hey, this is a keep. I haven't really been seeing too many dress downs lately. Yeah, I'll sit tight with that. We're chatting about Bloomborough and Didgeridoo. He's a fan of Minotaurs. I used to play Didgeridoo. That's how I got into Legacy. It was mono red Didgeridoo. There's a saga was printed after that. That was a godsend. Is this a 2-drop or is there a spirit guide coming? Chalice. Ay, ay, ay. Oh man. And it sucks as if I want to wasteland them, I'm gonna redraw these. Let me get one of them away. Waited. Whatever. Yeah, looking for dress down. Or a bounce spell. A small planeswalker that gets larger. It flips when a cat dies. Ponder's no good. I don't want to just shoot off the Nulldrifter yet. So I do need to make things happen, but they just don't have a quick clock yet. So I can afford, I believe, to spend a little time just messing with them while I get more draws. Hopefully, find a dress down or a bounce spell. Okay, brazen or broadside bombardiers. Gonna hurt. They can attack the cat, flip their planeswalker. Yep, that's what they're doing. Deals me 2 more damage. Now they have this. Creates a cat. Oh man, and I get shocked. What deck? Ooh man, bounce spell. Yikes! I'm dying. Super dead. Because I'm getting hit for lethal. I mean, I'll be down to 1, but then I can't tap Ancient Tomb. GG's. Brutal. Okay, 2-3 league. Honestly, that's about what this deck should get. I could see it being better. I punted a tiny bit early on, nothing crazy decisive. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it needs more interaction. There are definitely other people who are testing this sort of thing out, and maybe they have more ideas. Back to basics is an easier to deploy piece of interruption off of an island and ancient tomb. I know people are doing that. It has collateral damage, hitting our tombs and wastelands, but maybe with a harbinger out of our tombs into islands and pick them up with days. I don't know. There's various little things to do. But having Harbinger and Back to Basics active at the same time is not only redundant, but difficult. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this deck needs to go. There are definitely other people pushing it, and I have not looked at what they're doing. So good games, good league.